Travel back to a time long ago when England and France fought for a very long time in something called the 100 Years' War. This war lasted for more than 100 years. It was a big fight where a young girl named Joan of Arc became a hero. She was brave and changed how things were for England and France. Come along as we learn about this big fight and how a young girl made a huge difference in history. The 100 Years' War lasted a very long time from 1337 to 1453 and involved a big fight between England and France. They fought a lot to decide who should be the ruler of the French kingdom. The war wasn't just one big battle, but many smaller fights and plans that took over 100 years. It all started when Charles IV of France passed away in 1328 without a clear heir. This caused a big argument between Philip VI of France and Edward III of England. They both believed they had the right to the throne because of their family history, and this caused a lot of problems and fights between their supporters. England and France fought because they disagreed about who owned what land, and they had disagreements for a long time. England, led by Edward III, had a lot of land in France and wanted more power, which made things worse. At the beginning, England won some important battles, like the Battle of Crécy in 1346 and the Battle of Poitiers in 1356. These battles showed how effective the English longbowmen were against the traditional French knights. The war had a big impact on both countries, affecting their money, society, and politics. It changed how they fought wars and how their societies worked, and this affected all of Europe. Joan of Arc, also called Jeanne d'Arc, was born around 1412 in a small village in France. Her family didn't have much money, and she grew up like many other kids in her countryside town. From when she was young, Joan was very religious. She said she saw things and heard voices from saints like Saint Michael, Saint Catherine, and Saint Margaret. These experiences made her feel like she had a special purpose to help France during the 100 Years' War. During the war, Joan's village was taken over by enemy forces. This made her want to help the Dauphin, Charles VII, who wasn't officially the king yet. Joan believed her visions were a sign to help make Charles the real king of France. Even though she was just 17, in 1429, Joan of Arc went to see Charles VII at his court. She faced doubt from many people about her visions, but her strong belief and confident nature convinced some important people to let her meet the Dauphin. Joan earned the trust of Charles VII and was given the chance to lead troops in the war against the English. Even though she had no experience in the military, her leadership skills and inspiring presence helped the French soldiers. Her first big success came during the Siege of Orléans. Joan's smart thinking and bravery played a very important part in ending the siege, which was a big turning point in the war. Winning at Orléans made the French soldiers believe in Joan's guidance from above. She led successful fights in places like Jargeau and Patay, showing she was really good at leading battles. Her advice during Charles VII's crowning in Reims helped him become a stronger king of France. She didn't just help with fighting, but also had a big say in the politics of that time. Joan of Arc's success in battles shifted the course of the 100 Years' War, favoring the French. However, her triumphs made her enemies within the French court and among the English and their allies. In 1430, during a battle near Compiègne, Joan was captured by forces from Burgundy and later handed over to the English. This marked a turning point in her remarkable journey. The English, wanting to undermine her influence and power, put Joan on trial in 1431. The trial, held in Rouen, was managed by people who supported the English. They accused her of things like heresy and dressing like a man to harm her reputation. During the trial, Joan showed a lot of intelligence and strength. She defended her visions and kept her strong beliefs, even though she faced tough questioning and pressure to admit to things that weren't true. Eventually, the court found Joan guilty of heresy, and she was sentenced to die by burning at the stake. At only 19 years old, Joan of Arc faced a tragic end on May 30th, 1431. After Joan of Arc was executed by the English and their allies, her impact didn't fade away. Instead, she became a lasting symbol of bravery and strong beliefs in history. Following her death, the admiration for Joan grew stronger. Her unwavering faith, courage, and sacrifices stirred a feeling of national pride and determination among the French people. In 1456, there was another trial called the Nullification Trial, which canceled the earlier verdict. This new trial, led by a different church court, aimed to restore Joan's reputation and honor. Her legacy went beyond the 100 Years' War. Joan became a figure of respect and a symbol of unity for France. In 1920, the Catholic Church made her a saint. Joan of Arc's story continued to captivate artists, writers, and leaders. Paintings, books, and many movies told her story, showing her as a brave and determined person fighting against unfairness. Not just in the world of art and culture, Joan's legacy influenced different political and social movements. She's been seen as a symbol of women's strength and a person who stood against mistreatment, inspiring those who fight for fairness and equality. When the 100 Years' War ended in 1453, it brought big changes to France and England. Lasting over 100 years, this war made a big impact on both countries, affecting their politics, society, and money. For France, the war was a turning point. Even though it caused a lot of damage, it helped France become stronger as a nation, especially with the influence of people like Joan of Arc. After the war ended, France got back control of a lot of its land and became more independent. England, however, faced many challenges. The war cost a lot, not just in money, but in lives lost. Losing important land in France made England less powerful in Europe and caused problems within the country, like the Wars of the Roses. The 100 Years' War changed the way wars were fought. It led to new ideas about fighting, like using better weapons and changing the way armies were set up. The war also affected society and money. It caused changes in how people were ruled, helped kings become more powerful, and changed how business and trade worked. The results of this war left a big mark on both countries, influencing how they were run, how their economies worked, and how wars were fought for a long time. Knowing what happened during this war is really important to understand how both France and England changed in history.